that work is expected to begin very soon, with the intent being to give us the best map of the MRAA in the area that you've seen maps before of the 3D, so we can tell where there's high spots or low spots in the MRAA. With respect to actual venting, I think we've got 33 relief wells installed. We've just installed 2 or 3 more in the last few days. We're currently producing in the 50 to 60,000 cubic feet a day. As I've mentioned, we've got 2 wells there at Sportsman Landing. We're trying to get access agreements to put 2 to 3 more relief wells in north of Highway 70 because we have to get this access to be able to locate the flare that goes with these vent wells. We have not gotten that yet. We continue to work with the landowner, but have not received that yet. Dr. Hecox talked about the flow rates off the various relief wells. There is no question those relief wells start off pretty strong, and we've had numerous ones that the flow rate has dropped off. We've been working for about the last 3 weeks rehabbing relief wells. Actually go in, remove water, remove silt, sand, clean those out, re-log those wells so that we can measure how thick that gas zone is, and then do additional testing on those wells to try to restart it flowing gas. In a lot of cases, we are not seeing any gas return back to that well. The well will tend to fill up with water as opposed to when they were first put in service, the gas coming through the perforation. In addition, the repeat well logging that we've done, we went through a second round of what they call PDK logging of the majority of the relief wells. And the vast majority of these wells are showing a reduction in the gas zone from what the thickness was on the first log. We're going to continue to do additional testing on the aquifer. We're installing wells to do radius of influence testing that Dr. Pettit mentioned was something that we needed the Blue Ribbon Commission wanted to see. That will be ongoing over the next 2 to 3 weeks, that actual testing. Overall, I feel very good that we're making progress on getting the gas out of the aquifer, as evidenced by what we're seeing on the individual wells and this PDK logging. But we need to continue to work to map the entire area so we can see if there's any high spots or areas where additional relief wells are needed. This is a map, and I'm not going to go into great detail, but we hope to be logging and perforating these wells right here by Highway 70 and Bayou Corn this week, if not in the next few days. We installed another well over on the east side. We are trying to get access agreements to put in 2 or 3 relief wells up in there, but we've got to safely locate the flare, and that's what we're trying to get landowner access agreements for. Again, another slide with a lot of words. I think there's handouts if you want them, but from an air monitoring standpoint, thus far, we've got 96 sets of indoor LEL H2S monitors installed. I think we had 4 or 6 additional property access agreements come in the past week. Prior to that, we had installed monitors on all the properties that we had access agreements received. Tetra Tech will proceed with installing, doing the sampling, installing the monitors on those additional 6 properties, and contacting the homeowners for that. So that'll make it about 50 properties out of the whole community that have given us access agreements. To date, we've not seen any positive hits of LEL or H2S on any of the indoor monitors. In addition, on all of the area monitors around the sinkhole and in the area, we've not seen any positive or elevated levels of constituents. We feel very good about that because it indicates that the air quality is sound and safe, and we're really not seeing any problems with indoor LEL levels. There was discussion earlier tonight about the sub-slab sampling. We did do samples. We did sub-slab sampling on, I think, 9 different locations. Those that we had property access agreements and the homeowners would allow us. We found a positive positive LEL above our action limit on 2 properties. We took samples on both of those properties. I think it's 3 different sample sets. Next week, let me talk about what we found when we actually drilled the port into, through the slab. There's a hole drilled through the slab from the inside of the house. They followed procedures. They had an LEL monitor there as they were drilling through. No time during the drilling or when the hole was actually penetrated through the slab did we ever see any level of LEL on the monitor. We then installed a sample port and a valve. We let it stabilize for 24 hours. Came back in the next day and actually put a sample pump on it to pull, or basically pull a vacuum of the gas below that slab. Nowhere along any of this time did we see any gas or any indication of positive pressure of the gas below that slab. That's a very important point. The samples that we analyzed, we had them analyzed for compositional analysis, but also isotopic analysis. Isotech did the analysis. We utilized an expert from Weatherford Labs, pretty much a nation leader in terms of isotopic analysis. Their conclusion is the samples that we saw below slab were basically microbial methane, and we used extensive additional carbon dating on that analysis to show that that was its decomposition of vegetation that's in the soil or in the fill material. It does have a different fingerprint, as Gary alluded to, than the other samples we've seen in geoprobe wells and in the relief wells. We're going to have a detailed review with DNR, CB&I, and Assumption Parish folks here in the next week, if we can get it scheduled, to let our experts walk through with their experts to say exactly what's going on, so that we can review that data with them, see if they can draw the same conclusions. Water monitoring, we've taken over 1,200 samples to date. No signs of any indication of adverse water quality outside the sinkhole or off our property. From a seismic monitoring system, we continue to do passive seismic monitoring. You see the printouts and the indications on the Surrey helicorder site. In addition, we're building the pad location to install a 3,000-foot deep geophone well on our property into the salt, as Dr. Pettit mentioned earlier. That process is ongoing. I think we expect the rig to arrive around mid-May in order to give us time to build the location. That's also the earliest that rig, the only one we could find available, would be able to make it in. And then the last thing we're doing is we've initiated an upgraded surface monitoring system to the north and to the west of our facility to enhance what we already had on our facility, additional tilt meters, inclinometers, and water levels that are a very good indication of general subsidence in the area. So another thing that Dr. Pettit had mentioned, that's something they were looking for. So that's kind of the additional monitoring that is ongoing with the air, water, and seismic. With that, before I lose my voice anymore, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Cartwright and let him talk about 3D.